Hi, this is Bob TV, and this is how I mixed Lynx 234, my cover of a Rammstein song. Alright, let's talk about drums, and the other stuff we'll talk about as it gets there. So, given that I am not a good drummer at all, what I've decided to use is program drums, and that is here, they're MIDI track. So these are the drums right here. See? There's your hi-hats, cymbals, snare drum, kick drum, obviously. Well, I use a product called Easy Drummer. It's not exactly cheap. It's not as free as that MT Power Drummer that I told you about before, but I find the sounds better. So this is a metal plugin that I paid for on top of the standard boring plugin. What's cool about this is it has built-in grooves, they call them, or I think they're called grooves. Built-in beats. So if I click here, fills, whatever this. And it has hundreds and hundreds of these. Like I was telling you in the MT Power Drummer video, if you need some type of inspiration, find a beat, record a riff to that. In this case, I had some very specific drums I needed, so it's a mixture of finding a beat that works for the part, and then either modifying it or just creating the beat from nothing. For instance, the this riff here. Couldn't really find one that fit that exact style that I needed, so I kind of found one that was almost there, and then I changed it to be more of a kind of like a punk beat, like a fast kind of drum. And then, like I showed you in the other video, we just put them all together. So we got all the verses, and then here we have the I guess that's more of the there's the verse, and the guitar part's the chorus, I guess. So yeah, so once you have your drums laid out, and I have I had to make this. This is the thing at the beginning of the song. Once you have that laid out, here I'm going to show you a little secret that takes it from just one track and the drums to having separate tracks, kick, snare, hi-hat, toms, all that stuff separated. So you have your Easy Drummer. Go down to here, right-click, build channels of MIDI routing for this track. So you do that, it creates 16 channels, but they're all named Easy 1, Easy 2. So then you have to go into the mixer. See, then you select kicks 1, snare 2, hi-hat 3, toms 4. You divvy up all your drums to individual outputs, and then every track here has its own volume knob now, and you can put EQ separate on every track instead of just going with what the Easy Drummer sounds like by default. Not that it sounds bad, but sometimes you need it to sound a little better. So I've done that. So now every track is individual. So on the MIDI track, all I have is the drums. On the kick track, let me just expand these out. I don't think I really did a whole lot, as you can see. Yeah, I think ambient track, compressor track, and the built-in, this verb track is the built-in verb, but I have it muted because I like to use my own reverb. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so the only thing I really did was on the kick. And all I did there was I cut some below 30 out because, again, you don't need anything below 30 hertz. So let's see. Yeah, that's all I did. Fab Filter Pro Q2, cut below 30. No boost there because it's already kicking in the right spot. It does what it needs to do. So that's really simple. Let's go to now what I did to the entire drum bus, because all these drums here are going through the drum bus or drum folder. Different programs call it different things. And here, Fab Filter, I just want a little bit more high end to the entire drum kit. So let's turn that off. And so here's the drums. And then listen. Yeah. It's not even really all that noticeable here. It's 2 decibels of everything above 2000 hertz. It's a high shelf. In the mix, it just kind of felt a little better to have a little bit extra in the cymbals and the high end and the clicks and all that. Just a little bit extra, but not much. And I got nothing from the entire drums. Another secret that I learned was, here, listen to the reverb on this. A trick I learned with reverb is you need it in drums or else they sound small like this. See how much smaller they sound? So you need reverb. So what I did was I took a send, which is like the effects loop of your guitar amp, ascend, drag it down to my verb channel. But only do it on the drums that you want to have reverb on, and not everything. Like the kick drum, you don't want reverb on that because it just goes boom, boom, boom. Makes this shitty, muddy sound. So I have reverb coming out of here, see? Send to track 35 reverb, and I have it low for the snare drum, hi-hats, track send to verb, toms, even though they're kind of bassy, they don't come in all the time, or I don't think at all in this song. So, but it sounds cool when you have reverb on toms, so that's why you do that. Compressor, whatever, left that all. And then, like I said, I turned off the digital reverb that comes with Easy Drummer. And you get this. So, like I said, nothing much going on with the drums. The Easy Drummer stuff sounds pretty awesome. And I will now show you the reverb that I have running. And as you can see here, I actually have a lot of stuff. I have vocals going in there. Lo-fi stuff. Lo-fi vocals, that's what that is. Guttural vocals. I have all my vocals going into the same reverb. And then the drums as well. And then the shotgun blast sample, which I'll show you after. So that way, it's one reverb that everything gets sent to and then sent back. That way it's consistent. What's the reverb? Well, it's simple. It's called Valhalla Vintage Verb. This is, I just discovered this recently. I think it's $50. It's amazing. I don't touch anything on here. I just load it up, make sure the mix is set to 100 because it's an effect. And I don't do anything else. Set for 1970s color. Sweet. So let's see what that does. Only by itself. There we go. So this is only the reverb that's getting added to the track. Some snare. And that probably doesn't sound like much by itself, but like I showed you, when you have the drums with it, without it. Without it, makes it sound really small. Valhalla Vintage Verb, sounds amazing. I don't touch anything on here, sounds really good. Something just to add that you could do, that I'm not doing here, but if I was adding other stuff in here that did have bass in it, what you could do is just, let's see here, go to favorites, Pro Q2, just add an EQ and just take out all the low end, say, I don't know, say something like below 200, just double click 200 hertz, change it to a low cut, you know, 100, whatever sounds the best, between 100 and 200, and that way it comes into the reverb, but then as it leaves, it goes out the EQ and cuts out all the bass, so you don't have any fat, stupid low end that you don't need. But because I'm not sending the kick drum, I'm not sending the guitars, I'm not sending any low end from the vocals or the bass or anything like that, there's no bass going to it, so there's no need to cut it out because it's not there. Let's talk about the shotgun blast. In the original song, it's not a shotgun blast, but I thought this sounded kind of cool. Again, this is a free sample from the internet. Sounds like this. I have a bit of a fade out at the end just to get rid of some of the sound, but that's... If you listen to the links 2, 3, 4, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's the sound that I tried to go for, and it was easiest to create it with a gunshot. Let's move along the track and find something else to talk about. Okay, so we got some keyboard. And we've got some cello. Start with the keyboard. So this is the keyboard. This is what it sounds like. So that's a like vampire organ. And this is a company called Big Cat. This is, if you can believe it, this is free. This is their sketch organ. And I'll show you the cello after. They have violins, harps, and it's all free. Big Cat. I'll put a link to that in the description below. And I used my Korg micro keyboard. I figured out what the notes were, and I just played that on the keyboard. As you can see, this is the same as the drums. This is just MIDI. And then looks like I played it. I just duplicated it here, and that's so the MIDI comes in here. See, Korg micro key 37 key keyboard right here. Got that on from Amazon probably, because there was some fat low end that I wanted to get rid of. I cut everything below 400 hertz. So let's play that. So this is without. See all the low end? Because I don't want the fat low end from this to be conflicting with the bass and fighting with the kick drum and just muddying up the bottom end of the track. So I cut everything below that because you don't need that. You just, all you need is to hear the high end, this part. All this shit right here. And no reverb or anything on that. That's MIDI track. And let's find the cello track to show you that. So what I have here is cello. Sounds like this. This is free. Can you believe that? So yeah, it sounds a little fake when it's just by itself. Let me load it up here. So Big Cat sketch cello. For free, that sounds amazing. And then I did the same thing. I cut everything below 400 because I don't want any bass fighting with anything else. And then I wanted a bit more high end, just like with the drums. So let's play that. Just a bit of a boost there just to make it cut a little bit better. So literally what I did here was I just duplicated the part. Once I got it right, I just copied and pasted it. And then I copied and pasted it here again. So then the organ and the cello were playing the exact same notes at the exact same time. You just look at it, they look the same. And then what I did was I used a little bit of a panning trick. So I panned the cello over 40% to the right, and then I used this panning automation here. So here's down the center, then right here, see, it goes 41% to the left, but only for that part. The first part of the song, it actually stays right down the center, like right here. Center, pan. Here it goes just for that part. So what I do is I move the organ to the left a little bit. I move... I just got that. I move the keyboard to the left a little bit. I move the cello to the right a little bit, and then you get this. So they're not fighting for the center channel. They're a little bit left, a little bit right. That's MIDI. Free plugins. Sounds amazing. For free. Okay, so that's the keyboard, and I don't think I have any reverb or anything, nothing on that. So that's just straight MIDI. Load up a plugin, do a little bit of EQing to make it fit with the other stuff. That sounds incredible. Oh, you know what? I'll show you what that sounds like in the context of the song. Let's mute the vocals for a minute here. Lots of tracks. Vocals. Mute. So with all the guitars and everything, so it sounds like all mixed together. Just adds a little bit of an extra touch, and I can't play piano worth a damn, so that's the best I could do.